Hey, what's going on?
Hey, how are you? I'm doing good.
Great, great. Happy to have you on here. Thank you for being patient and
Of
allowing me to finish up
course.
Animal Crossing.
Oh, you are all good. I don't play Animal Crossing, but all my friends do, and I understand enough about it to know that like you got to keep up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You
yeah.
can't let your things fail.
No, I call it animal crack smoke because it is addictive.
Animal crack smoke. That's yep, that's about right.
Since we're launching off into this subtopic of Nintendo games, I saw how you previewed your song Summer Heat with Mario Kart. I was like, spot on.
I don't know, it just felt right to do that because I was trying to figure out I'm like super into like my music videos and I really want them to like be visually appealing, but sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I like the beginning of that song to me it always has sounded like a video game and I was like I'm just gonna use Mario Kart because I fucking love Mario Kart and it felt right and I think it captured actually the song pretty well for some reason. It was like the beach theme. It was like Peach Beach or whatever
Yeah,
the that
Peach
one.
Beach.
Yeah.
Driving is
So,
windy. So, yeah,
oh
that was
yeah.
cute. For real. Well, everybody, my special guest today is Millie Rose Evans, a musician, singer songwriter, and also actress and film and TV production person.
Yeah, it's a lot actually. Like when you say that list, I'm like, geez. Um, to me, I think like acting and music. So it's just like two little things, but there's so many subcategories to each one of those. I am an actor, yes. I literally just got back from an audition. I'm with an agency, but I also do crew work on film sets. So like I do doubling, I stand in, and that's more so just like for financial, just to make money. But it's not like I want to be a professional photo double for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? But it's been a great avenue for me to meet and connect with people in the film industry, and I definitely don't regret it. I think that if you're interested in film, at least once in your life, you should just join a set just to do extra work or something silly like that, just to see the process because it's so fun to see it. But that's the goal is like acting, but music has just always been a part of my life. And so naturally, it's kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, I can make money doing this thing that I like to do. So yeah, I produce for other people. I also do like sound scoring for like film, so I can kind of combine worlds a little bit.
I like it.
um I'll if any point I'm ranting, you just let me know because I am super hyped up on matcha right now. Like you probably have you had matcha before?
No, what's that?
Matcha is like the green, you've seen those like green drinks and it's like, it's like a green,
Oh, like a
it's
green
like a
smoothie?
green powder. It's like a tea.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's called matcha, and it's like a powder, and it's super, super strong, like condensed green tea powder, basically. But
Oh,
it
okay.
has like so much caffeine, and the character that I was auditioning for today was really hyper, and so I was like, I'm just gonna drink a bunch of matcha and get into this character, and then I forgot I have a video interview, so I'm like, what's up?
Coming down and transitioning. No, I wish I
Yes.
had taken a bunch of matcha. Like, I woke up this morning and there was no caffeine in the house, and I didn't feel like doing my Starbucks run, so I was like, fuck it. Simply lemonade it is. Just hype up on sugar.
Simply lemonade. Simply lemonade. When there's no caffeine in the house, it's hard to start your day and feel like motivated to do anything, which is sad, but like that's really how I feel about like caffeine. Like I need to start my day with some type of, it makes me feel like I'm gonna be more productive than I probably actually
Yeah, no, it's like sometimes without caffeine and or breakfast, I feel like I don't have a brain in my head.
am.
Yeah.
What's your zodiac sign? I'm just
Oh, I
curious.
love this question. I'm a Libra.
Oh my God.
And
We're
your
gonna
birthday was
vibe
last weekend, so
super.
you're a Cancer?
Yes, but let me explain something.
Yeah.
Okay, I am a Cancer, yes. So I'm like sensitive or whatever. But every pretty much every single element in my whole birth chart, like my moon is in Aquarius,
Hmm.
my sex and my love, Mars and Venus are both in Gemini, which all air signs. Like my chart is like predominantly air. So I really, really get along with air signs, like really well.
Yeah, my girl's
Um,
into the whole like air sign, planet, sun, moon,
yes,
all that shit, and I'm just like,
yes,
okay, the sun, the basic one, just like when's your birthday? Okay, so you're a whatever. I like that, but past that, I'm like,
yeah.
y'all lost me.
No, it's a whole language, and what's so
Whole
ironic
language.
about it was so ironic about it is like I love it, but because I have so much air in my chart, I'm so skeptical. Like I'm like, this is bullshit. But I'm like, but what are you? But I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But I'm like, oh, okay. It's like it makes sense because air signs are the thinkers, like we are communicators and we're very logical and rational.
Yeah,
So the idea that like planets like affect how we feel, no, I don't buy it, but I think it's fun.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's like
It's
just when you
fun.
meet different people, I always ask too because you just see like similar personality traits.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you remind me of my homegirl Isabel from high school, and she's a Cancer.
Did you like Isabel?
Yeah, that's one of my best friends for like 10 years.
Oh, sweet. That's
But yeah,
awesome.
and she moved to Atlanta too briefly.
Where are you? Where do you live?
I live in LA. I'm born and raised LA.
Hell yeah. I fucking love LA. I fucking love LA. I'm sorry. I don't know if cussing a no go.
Cussing is a yes. You must cuss on here. It's required.
So did you get a chance to see my Glow music video? Glow was filmed completely in LA because my girlfriend lived there for about 6 months last year, and so I went with her, and we were in Westwood Village, and like right on UCLA's campus because the girl she was rooming with went to UCLA, and
Yeah.
nothing to me beats it. Like I love New York, but like something about LA and California, like every time I go, I just love it so
Yeah.
much.
I feel the same way. I love New York as well, but like this is just home. It's like I'm
Right.
already in the place I need to be to like do what I want to do. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
like you said about well, are you from Atlanta? Because I saw on your page you have Atlanta and Savannah. So from Georgia.
So, I'm born and raised in Athens, Georgia, which is like where UGA is. It's a college town,
Athens.
very much a party town.
Right.
And then I graduated high school and I went to Georgia State University in Atlanta, and I've lived here for about 6 years. So totally Georgia peach or whatever the fuck they say.
Georgia Peach. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
And
So
I can
what
do a
was
real good Southern accent if you want to hear a good Southern accent.
it?
I can knock your socks off of that.
I bet. Knock your socks off. I bet. So what was it like growing up for you? Like, what were you like as a kid?
Oh my God, I was so annoying, as you can probably already imagine. Um, I was an only child,
I'm an
so
only child too. What the fuck?
okay, dude, we get so much shit. We
Yeah.
get so much shit.
So is she.
Um, but so here, my childhood was weird because my parents had me later in life. Like my mom had me when she was 40.
Yeah, my mom had me at
So
like 39 as well. That's damn. That's weird.
and especially being an only child, like a lot of people don't understand, like as your parents are aging and like you're an only child, like there's a lot of like stress that comes with that because like I'm gonna be the only one dealing with it while they age,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
The,
And my
the
friends have
way
the
I see it.
siblings that
Oh,
go
sorry to
ahead.
cut you off, but the way I see it, the best thing about being an only child is all the attention's on you, and the worst thing about being
Hmm.
an only child, all the attention's on you.
Exactly, exactly. And so I had that. My parents were older, and which was actually a great thing. I'm so glad that my parents were older because they were way more mature. They were better people and they were
Yes.
better parents. They were more in tune with who they were. My dad is a writer, so
Mhm.
he's a journalist. He's a medical journalist. So
Oh,
he
really?
actually covers infectious disease. Like he's covering coronavirus right now, and
Wow.
he's kind of like a genius, but he's like my best friend. He's really, really sweet. He's a very, very kind man. And my mom is a therapist. So the two of those together, growing up in a house where it's just three people, it's always communicating. It's always talking about feelings. It's honestly probably one of the healthiest environments I could have been raised in. Like my parents are very, very close to my heart, and I wouldn't be an artist and be able to express myself if it wasn't for the way that they enabled me to express myself as a child. You know what I mean? Because my mom, at any time something was wrong, I was always allowed to feel what I needed to feel. And that has helped me with my music, because I can channel like so easily what I need to feel through my music, where some people just naturally, and it's not their fault, but they just repress and repress and repress it, and they don't have an outlet. So if I didn't have my childhood, I wouldn't be able to create anything, probably.
I totally feel it. I'm glad you grew up in a nice environment with, intellect being like a cornerstone of your upbringing. That's really good. A lot of ladies, like, that they come from abusive homes, and there's a lot of turmoil, and, a lot of women have to grow up fast, but no, it's always good to hear the opposite. So yeah.
And that's a privilege, and that's something I recognize. Like the way that I was raised, like I was very privileged. We weren't like filthy rich. We didn't have a ton of money, but in the sense of like emotional and mental health that most people like don't have as well of an environment to really express their feelings, especially guys. Like I am very, very privileged to have had that childhood, and I do not take it for granted. And definitely, I think there's a stereotype that artists have to be like in pain or turmoil in order to create things, and they have to come from suffering and all this stuff. And that's not actually true. You can be happy, and you can be, healthy, and still be a really, really good artist, and make good stuff. And I can even write a lot of my music actually has kind of a sad undertone to some of it, especially my acoustic and just straight up piano stuff is very like kind of melancholy.
Especially, I kind of felt the same way when I listened to Do You Feel the Same, which is how I found out about you.
Yeah, that song is definitely has a melancholy. It's like a hopeful song though. It's not like super sad. You just like, feel, I guess, it's a kind of a nostalgic feeling is how I would describe that song, because it's like you're in love and it's a feeling of being in love, but it's also kind of like you're already aware that like you're never going to have that same moment that you've already experienced. Like that's why I used all that footage from New York, because as it was, which I wasn't planning on doing that for the video, I just started filming while we were up in New York, and I was like, you know what, I'm already feeling nostalgic about this trip, about this experience, and that perfectly fits. I just happen to be writing that song, and I was like, let me just marry these two.
Yeah, you could tell like this is already going to be an experience that you're going to remember. So a lot of your music videos kind of seem like vlogs, like you're traveling to certain places, and then you're not just acting in front of the camera, you're like documenting what you and your friends did there. Can you tell me a little about that?
Yeah, I definitely with Glow, and definitely with Do You Feel the Same. The one music video that I'm not really a big fan of is Lost in Atlanta, which is so annoying because I love Lost in Atlanta. I love that song so much. But that music video, I was really trying too hard because that was my first single that I ever released. And I wanted it to be like this like legit video, and then the older I got and the more like my music was evolving, the more I realized that the most attractive quality as a viewer is seeing someone being genuine. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, you want the aesthetics, and yeah, you want it to be fun and enjoyable to watch, but also I like letting people feel like they can see into my life, because that's already my music. So I don't want to just like get in front of like a green screen and like dance around and be like Bloom. Like, let's just be real. Like Bloom was such a half-assed video. Like it really was. Like it's I love the visuals of it, and it's great. It was filmed on like a fucking Red, like a really nice camera. but like that was very little effort into the Bloom video, and that's something I've grown and learned as I'm going, that's what I want to put more effort into my videos. That I'm like, do you feel the same? Was a really good like stepping stone for me of like, okay, this is what has gotten the most positive feedback, and this is the direction that I want to go, because I'm a film major. I'm majored in film. I
Yeah,
appreciate
I'm minored in film.
you know. Yeah, you know, like it's visuals and the way people like perceive what you're doing. Like, it's not just a music video. Like, you can actually make it something beyond the song
Yeah.
that has meaning, and I don't want to waste that, you know. So I'm not going to delete those old music videos, but definitely a couple that
No, I
like.
wouldn't say delete them, you know, because that's part of the, you know, whole story of who Millie Rose Evans is.
Right.
Okay, so how'd you start making music?
So when I was 8 for Christmas, I came downstairs, like I was super excited. I was like expecting like, I don't know what, just like a gift, whatever. And my parents like had this thing like with a blanket over it, and they pull it off and they're like, "Merry Christmas." And it was a piano, like a keyboard. And I was so bummed. I was like, this Christmas sucks. Like, this isn't a toy. This is nothing. Like, what am I going to do with this? Like, I had no concept of like music or anything. So they forced me. They said, okay, Millie, just until you are in middle school. So I was in 3rd grade. So, like, for 3 years, we're going to do these piano lessons. And then if you hate it, you can quit. And so I did it, and I ended up quitting lessons when I was in middle school, but I never stopped playing piano. So I kept teaching myself, and I joined band in middle school. So I played the trumpet. I played French horn for symphonic band and trumpet for concert band, but French horn was my main instrument other than piano. And I did that into high school. Then I quit that, but piano was just constant. And then I got a guitar for Christmas from my uncle. And when I discovered GarageBand on the iPhone, it was over. It was over because I could just put, like, I grew up with like an orchestra background because I was in Atlanta Youth Symphony. And so I did lots of, like, I can read music, you know, and like I can understand layering of music. And I don't want to talk down on any producers, but there's so many that like they just do a beat, do a chord, and then like start singing over. And it's like so simple. And sometimes simple is great, but like I really enjoy like deep sounds. Like I enjoy layered sounds that like really evoke like a feeling and like harmony. And that's where my orchestra background kind of comes in. So that's how I got into music.
Okay. I see you. Yeah, around 8 was when I got my keyboard as well. But I don't really have regrets in life. But one thing I wish I did do was stick more to that, because around the time I was 14, I kind of stopped, and then I went back in high school and did jazz ensemble. But I guess it just wasn't my thing. I mean, to like
Yeah.
make music myself. I mean, in high school I like rapped a little bit and then made beats on GarageBand with my friend, but yeah, never really, I can still freestyle, but I never really got like super into that. But yeah, it's crazy that like you brought up a good point, like the knowing the composition of music and to read it. And tell me about like your writing process.
My writing process, I know some artists who have a really specific writing process, but mine is pretty different for each one. I usually start out with a chord sequence that I am really feeling. I'm not lyrics, 99% of the time for me come last. Even though I like really appreciate good lyrics, I'm more about the music. So like I'll start with chords on piano or guitar, and then I'll come up with like my tempo that I'm wanting it to be. And at that point, I'm already starting to think about melody and singing over it. And then I'll kind of record it and, you know, alter the sounds, like, you know, add synth, add strings, add percussion, add whatever I want to add. And then I'll do melody, like my main melody, and like come up with a really catchy like chorus or whatever I'm feeling. And then typically after that, I'll go in and do harmonies. And at that point, then is when I actually write the lyrics. So I'll
Okay.
kind of like, as I'm singing the melodies, like kind of come up with some words, but it's basically just gibberish in order for me to get that melody down.
I feel that.
Because when you write a lyric, you've already written a cadence. So like you can't like take that lyric and apply it to any melody. There has to be a certain melody for that lyric because there's certain syllables and there's a certain beat to that song. So it's actually kind of limiting. If you just do the melody first and then write the words to that, you already know that you're going to be able to get the melody that you already want and hear. So that, for me, which people can go back and forth on that, but to me, that makes the most sense in my mind and comes naturally to me. But there's no right or wrong way.
Okay, I see you. Yeah, it makes sense to construct like the music around it, and then, like you said, the lyrics start as gibberish, and then from there you've got to form it.
Yeah.
So tell me about some early musical influences for you, and then like what's on your rotation today.
Well, I grew up, my parents heavily played like Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, a lot of kind of like, you know, Bob Dylan, like kind of folk rock, and Rolling Stones and stuff like that. And then a lot of like Marvin Gaye and just honestly just really, really good like 70s music. And then as I got older, I really will say I love pop music, and I love a really good melody. I don't like the bubblegum pop that has absolutely like it's just this, it sounds the same with every song, but I really enjoy a good pop song that has like I grew up, my mom would always play Madonna in the car on the way to camp, and like I loved growing up on Madonna, like her, like only her main classics though. But then so I kind of had like this weird combination of all different types of music. And then as I got older, I started listening to more indie music, and I was really into like Lana Del Rey, like in my angsty years, and a little bit of Lorde in high school, and oh my gosh, Tame Impala had a huge influence on me in my weed smoking days. MGMT also had a big influence on me in my weed smoking days. And now, actually, funnily enough, it sounds silly, but it's true. One of my biggest influences is actually my cousin. He I don't know if you've heard of the band Wild Nothing.
I don't think so.
You would probably, I don't know what kind of music that you like listen to, but he's an indie artist, and so he's like in the same label as like Mac DeMarco and like
right.
Sierra.
Yeah,
that's yeah. So Mac is like his best friend, and they like started doing music together in like Virginia, and then Mac blew up, and then he kind of blew up as Wild Nothing, and yeah, you should check out his. Oh my God, I'm actually wearing one of his shirts.
Wild
actually,
Nothing.
but.
Okay.
Wild Nothing. Yeah, you
check him out for sure.
His stuff is really good, but it's really just.
I met Mac DeMarco once a couple of years ago.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he's kind of a funky dude.
Yeah.
But his music is really indie. It's really chill. It's like got a happy like kind of like electric guitar feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that he's a huge influence on me. That's pretty much. I mean, what do I have in rotation right now? Oh my gosh, it's so many weird things. I've been listening to some soundtracks, like Chinatown soundtrack,
really?
like weird instrumentals, orchestra kind of stuff, and then literally I'll like shuffle it. Meg Thee Stallion is so fucking good to me. I love Meg. And randomly I got kind of just like super low-key into like a couple of BTS's songs, like the K-pop group, but I don't love it. But there was just a couple that like I was driving, and
I haven't checked them out yet.
I was like into it.
Yeah, I haven't tapped into the whole K-pop world.
I don't like Blackpink at all. Like they're like I Blackpink is probably like one of the biggest groups, like the
Yeah.
female group.
Hmm.
And I tried, like I genuinely tried. I was like, what's the hype? Like, what is this about? Like, let me try. And it just wasn't it. There wasn't enough melody for me. It was
Yeah.
just too, it was kind of like squeaky, like I don't know. I don't want to talk about anyone, but they're so big that my what I say doesn't affect them in any way. So they're doing just fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
BTS is
I
pretty
love
much the
King
only big
Princess.
band I've heard of. Oh, what's her name? Princess?
Yeah, King Princess. I love King Princess.
It sounds
I
familiar.
really like she's also like a queer artist. Like we're kind of similar
Okay.
actually.
I actually had some questions about you.
Not just
How do you feel? How do you feel
yeah.
about yourself being a queer artist?
I feel pretty good about it, but it is kind of scary. More it's scary in the acting world, but it's not as scary in the music world. I would hope
Hmm.
that people don't like ignore my music simply because I'm like queer, which they probably wouldn't even be interested, in listening to that kind of music anyway if they don't like it would be silly not to, but I do think that the only fear I have would just be my perception in mainstream media once I am more successful and how that's going to affect like radio play or things where like they're not as like like Frank Ocean, huge
Yeah,
influence on
right.
me. He's a phenomenal queer
Same with
artist,
me.
but
Huge influence.
he hasn't gotten much radio play. Like yeah, like he doesn't like I feel like there's something about queer artists where like they're mainstream. Like Lil Nas is like the perfect example of someone who is like paving the way for like a openly, but he got successful and blew up before he came out. You know what I'm saying? So like he had that advantage of like already having a huge fan base of people who loved him, and then
Yeah.
he came out. And I'm sure, and he lost fans. He lost fans, but he also gained a lot of fans too. So there's pros to it. Like a lot of my listeners and a lot of like my fans, I don't even like saying that, but a lot of my fans are like young queer women, so also it's just like it's both. There's pros and cons to it.
Interesting. There's been many queer artists, but you brought it to my attention that like even as much as I love Frank Ocean and Tyler the Creator, and I see those guys like being at the top, they're not going to have the same radio play as Drake or the Migos. That's been like
Exactly.
massive.
And that's numbers.
Top success.
Yeah, and that's numbers, and that's money. That's numbers and that's money. So if you think about it, like it's still a system where like queer artists aren't going to be able to have the platform to make as much money as like Taylor fucking Swift or Ariana Grande. You know what I mean?
Right.
But not that they can't be extremely rich and successful, just that it's not, they don't have that access to that very vanilla mainstream kind of circle.
Yeah, to be as quote unquote as good as everybody else.
There's a time and a place for pop
is.
and mainstream music, and there is, but personally it's not like my go-to. I mean, I will say I do have a very soft spot for like old Lady Gaga music, just because I grew up on that in school.
Yeah, back when I was in high school, like her when she first came out and had those singles like Bad Romance and Just Dance.
Yeah.
And I listened to her new album. I didn't get around to reviewing it, but not quite my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But
no, same. I didn't like it. There was only like one song that I kind of liked, and the only reason I liked it was because I wanted to dance in a gay bar to that song. You know what I mean? It was very like here's like Gaga's music. Like I like it for the same reason that I hate it. Like I like that I want to like watch a drag show and have it playing and like be in a club, but I also hate it because of that, because she has so much vocal ability and she has such a range. And that's why her album Joanne was like better in my opinion, because like she actually like was really belting and singing. But this Chromatica was not it for me. It was not it for me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When she came out, one of my friends described her as like a train wreck in slow motion. But, you know, now that we're kind of talking about her, it kind of makes me think like that was like the birth of glam pop, or like the rebirth of it, you know? So yeah, shout out to Gaga.
Yeah, shout out to Gaga for, especially with like the avant-garde type of like fashion that she brought to the music world. And then all of a sudden like people started really like people stopped wearing just like tuxes to events, you know, like people were like, I can make a fucking statement, you know. And so she kind of went out there and people gotta give her credit for that. But yeah.
Okay, no doubt.
Ooh.
So let's talk about film and TV production. So I saw that you worked on many sets, including Venom, Stranger Things, and Spider-Man. So that's kind of one of the other things we have in common, because like I told you, you majored in film, I minored in film. And then last summer I did this thing called the 48-Hour Film Project.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. So I wrote and acted in a short film for the first time, which was a lot of fun. So tell me about some of your experiences on set and like, you know, how that came to be and what it's like in that environment.
Well, first of all, props to you for doing a 48-hour film festival. I know how stressful those are.
It's fun.
I've acted in a couple of them, and it's like, you know, everyone's just like chain smoking cigarettes, freaking the fuck out. But basically I got into the film world. I had just moved to Atlanta. I was 18 and I got on I'm 24. I just turned 24.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just turned 24. So when I was 18, I just I got on any set I could. Like I was Alvin and the fucking Chipmunks. Like you fucking name it. Any set that was in Atlanta. Like honestly, like if I Googled like sets that filmed in Atlanta last 6 years, I did extra work on so many of those. Like my first set I ever worked on was Dirty Grandpa with Zac Efron and Robert De Niro. And I got bumped up to doing stand-in my first ever day on set, which is like that's like no, that never happens. I just happened to fit the like physical description for this, and I had no fucking clue what was going on. The other stand-in helped me the whole time, but I was just casually talking to Zac Efron my first ever day on set, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And we ate in the same room, and I was like, this is crazy. And then I did my next set, and I was treated like total shit because I wasn't a stand-in. So like reality hit me, and I did that for like 3 years. Just any set I could get on, I did it. It was 12 14-hour days, awful, eating shitty food, but I just loved being able to see the whole process of it. And I was working my way up to eventually started doing more stand-in stuff, started photo doubling, which do you want me to clarify standing in and photo doubling, like the difference between them, or no really?
Yeah, go ahead and clarify it.
So standing in, like you're not in any of the wardrobe, you're just there for the camera crew, and you're basically just helping them set up lighting and do the blocking of the scene so that they can practice it. Yeah. And then the photo doubling is when you're actually in a wig wardrobe and they're not shooting your face or like over the shoulder, or like you're like hand doubling or something like that. You're actually being the character, but just not your face, and you're on camera, you're being filmed. So that's why in Stranger Things, that's what I did the most in Stranger Things was, you know, basically Millie got injured, like in the middle of the summer, right when they were filming. She split her kneecap in half, she fell, and they like needed someone like immediately. And Heather with Casting Tailor Made, which she does all the like casting for like crew and stuff for Stranger Things, she reached out to me because I'd worked with her before and asked me to send my measurements in, and I like matched her really well. So I started working on that set, and anything that she couldn't do, like I was riding bikes, I was, opening lockers, I was walking, I was running, like anything that she couldn't do, I did. So I would get there and get in my wardrobe and everything. And some days I would just sit there and they wouldn't have to use me because she didn't need help. And then some days I would work all day. So it really just depends.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I even looked up your IMDb. I said okay.
I don't even know what my IMDb looks like. In my mind, I don't have one. So I don't even know what you saw, but I need to update. There's probably some weird shit.
There's one movie called Sophie there, and that's all that was.
Oh, fuck. That's probably one of my old weird indie films that I did. That was probably horrible. I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to get. I need to. Here's the thing. The reason I don't have an IMDb is because you don't put extra work, photo double work, or stand-in work on an acting resume, and IMDb is strictly for acting. So the more acting experience that I get with actual television and film series, that's when I'm gonna start creating an IMDb, because no one wants to go to my IMDb to see that I was in a 5-minute short horror film that, had horrible audio. You know what I mean? No one cares.
It's like putting Starbucks and Trader Joe's on your resume when you're trying to get a corporate job.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's your favorite movie?
Oh my God. Okay. I have a few.
You can rattle off your top three.
Top three right here. Mulholland Drive, American Beauty, 2001 Space Odyssey.
Okay. You'll love my friend Vita Kari's song Mulholland Drive then.
That movie is absolutely phenomenally done. Yeah. It is so fucking trippy. And once you understand it, I had to watch and read about what the ending meant and what was going on, and I was like, chef's kiss, well done. American Beauty is on there simply because I saw it at a young age, and it inspired me to get into having the next. I literally cried at the end of it, and all I wanted was to get a video camera and film everything. So that movie is close to home for me because it inspired me to actually film things and be a part of film. But 2001 Space Odyssey is just aesthetically just absolutely fucking gorgeous, and every time I watch that movie, I actually watched it a few days ago with my girlfriend because I was like, you haven't seen 2001? Oh my God, you have to see 2001. And we played. It's almost 3 hours long, and the whole time you're just it's so beautiful. 1964 or some shit. It's in the 60s. And they it literally looks like it could have been made last year. That's how good it is. It was just, Anyway, what about you?
My top three, Good Burger, Stephen King's The Myth, and then White Chicks from the Wayans brothers.
Wow. I mean, there's a place in my heart for all genres. I listed off the whatever movies, but I definitely, there's a place in my heart for all, people think that the films that have won the most awards are the most influential, and that's not true. That's just not true. There's so many underground weird movies, or movies that failed at the box office but had a cult following, that are so influential. So
yeah. I mean, I feel it's just the food you eat or the music you listen to. It's all subjective anyway, but there is just more complexity in a Beethoven piece rather than a Soulja Boy song.
That's true. That's true. Soulja Boy would probably argue that for some reason, but I'm sure Soulja Boy would be ready to fight you.
It is, entrepreneur.
He'd be I am fucking Beethoven.
Although I do want to meet Soulja Boy. Is he?
Me too. He lives here. He's in Atlanta somewhere. I'm where are you, Soulja Boy? What's going on? He's here somewhere.
For sure. So what's your 011 tattoo all about?
Oh, that's that's not a real tattoo. That's for when I double for 11. That's her like her stamp on her.
Okay. Stranger Things.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's every day that I went into work, they would apply that, and then at the end of the day, they would remove it. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I know about people who've gotten that as a tattoo though, like because they love the show. But that won't be happening
I
for
only
me
watched the first
anytime
season
soon.
because, like, even for me, I prior to this shutdown, I was working in casting for Rhythm and Flow on Netflix. But
Mm-hmm.
like, with me, like when I'm home, like I want to be productive and do palms, so
Mm-hmm.
write blog posts or edit videos and like that kind of stuff. If not, I'm playing the video games. There's a couple shows I watch, but like
I
I'm like rarely gonna like sit down and binge.
You're good. You're good. Straight, honestly, the first season is the best one. So
Yeah. They nailed that 80s
I'll
feel.
be. Oh yeah, I watched that, and I wish that I was born in the '80s so I could like experience it, because it just they made it look so fun to be in the '80s.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sets are fun. I mean, they have the budget. The sets are phenomenal.
No
I mean,
doubt.
it is just like you literally feel like you're going back in time.
Yeah. So Millie, what are you working on these days?
So right now, Stranger Things isn't gonna start filming back until September.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of holding out for that. I'm doing music right now. I have a song that I'm working on. I'm trying to get this artist to feature on it, and I'm waiting to hear back. I also have a remix for Lost in Atlanta that I've been working on that's going to be coming out. I am potential soundtrack collaborations with people for short films and different commercial kind of things. And then I'm gonna be in a starring in it's a feature film, but it's not like gonna be in theaters. It's just a long movie that I'm working with a director who I've worked with before. He's super nice, and that'll be filming, I think, early August. And yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. That's pretty much all I have on my plate right now. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. One more thing you brought up: other artists and producers you'd like to collaborate with.
Oh my god, where do I fucking start? I could do a killer collaboration with King Princess or Girl in Red, just because they're other queer artists.
Mm-hmm.
I would also really love to work with like Black female artists. Like they're one of my actually she's a friend of mine. We're not like super close anymore, but when she lived in Atlanta, we were good friends. Her name is Ruby Rose. Have you heard Ruby
Yeah, I've
Rose?
heard
She's
of
like a
Ruby.
rapper. Okay, so me and her used to be friends because she lived here, and my roommate at the time named Ashley, they were like best friends, and so Ruby was always over, and this before she was even like into music. And I like was listening to her stuff pretty recently, and she's really got a great flow, and I would love to work with like as far as like ultimate, definitely like Frank Ocean would be like my dream to work with.
Oh yeah,
Frank Ocean. Um,
for sure.
which it's like isn't that everyone's, but I'm still gonna say it just cause.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see on social media you're really politically active, and especially with like the civil rights uprising that's going on right now. Do you want to speak on
Mm-hmm.
anything as far as Donald Trump or racism or the police brutality?
Fuck Donald Trump. He's an absolute
Definitely.
piece of shit. Doesn't give a shit about
Vote
anybody
and
but
don't vote for
his
Kanye.
damn self. And
Yeah.
don't vote for fucking Kanye. Don't vote for any fucking third party. Unfortunately, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we do have to vote for Joe Biden
All we
because he
got.
is the only way. That's
Yeah.
all we got. It's all we got. And support your Black artist friends. Support your your brown and Black queer friends, anyone who has a business that that like your local in your local like community. That's what I'm doing to show my support, because I went to a couple of protests, and then the whole COVID thing in Georgia is really fucking scary because our governor,
You're in
shout
California.
out, completely oblivious to what's going on, doesn't want to wear masks. We almost had Stacey Abrams as our fucking governor, and
Really?
the election was fucking rigged.
I really like Stacey Abrams.
No, like, dude, she's amazing. And Kemp literally was in charge of the elections, and like, don't get me started, but it was rigged. It was like she did have the popular vote. Like, people came out for Stacey Abrams. Like, Georgia is the only swing state of the South. People really want to shit on Georgia, and it's true. We got a lot of weirdos here, but we are the only Southern state that's got a chance.
Well, do you consider Virginia a Southern state, where I went to college?
I do consider Virginia Southern, yeah.
Virginia's a swing state, is it not?
West Virginia is like, it is a swing state. It is a swing state. It definitely is a swing state, but it's like, I do consider Virginia the South, but I'm deep South, I guess that's what I should have said, deep South.
Yeah,
because
Virginia's
Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Florida, that's Louisiana is a lot.
Yeah, I really haven't spent a whole lot of time down there. Yeah. My dad used to live in Atlanta for years. Like, he went to Clark Atlanta University.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, lived in Savannah or Athens. Yeah, one of them. But, yeah, I haven't spent a lot of time down there except going to my cousin's graduation at Spelman and then going to New Orleans for my spring break senior year of college.
Oh, cool. I have never been to New Orleans. I've been to Louisiana, but I haven't been to New Orleans, and I don't really want to go.
It's a great party town if you like to eat, drink, and just, like, have fun everywhere you go.
See, I'm a huge history nerd, and, like, I love, like, ghost stuff.
Oh, yeah, they have that there, too.
So I definitely would want to do, like, a ghost tour or some type of, like, you know, yeah.
Okay, cool. What's Millie Rose Evans' favorite thing to eat?
Well, I'm vegan, so but let me just start there because that eliminates a lot. My favorite thing to eat, Mexican food is probably my all-time favorite.
Yeah,
I just love Mexican food, and it's very. I also really, really, really. It's like I can't even pick a favorite. Southern food to me is home. Like, Southern food to me is home, and there's a lot of really good vegan Southern places in Atlanta, like vegan mac and cheese. Like, you can get vegan wings in Atlanta now. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. It is crazy. So mashed potato. Oh yeah, LA. That's one of the things I love the most about LA is, like, y'all have so much food that I could eat. But basically Southern food and then Mexican food, and then I love Asian food. I do love Asian food. Like, I love Thai food. I love, like, massaman curry. That's one of my favorite dishes. I really love all types of food. We have a killer Ethiopian restaurant here, and it's spicy as fuck, but it's really good.
Okay. Yeah, I need to try Ethiopian food. I've heard of, like, a couple places out here. I just haven't been yet.
They have this weird, like, bread. Like, I don't remember what it's called, but it, like, almost looks like a little sponge, and you just, like, pick everything up with it and then eat it. It's kind of like naan with, like, Indian food, but it's, like, their version of it. And I love it because it's all eating with your hands, and they just bring a little platter with different stuff, and it's cool. It's a very communal way of eating.
Okay, cool. All right, Millie, is there anything else anybody you want to shout out, anybody you want to thank?
Shout out to my parents. Like I mentioned earlier, like, honestly, talking about it made me realize even more, like, how grateful I am to my parents. Shout out to every single person who's fighting the good fight right now for Black lives and for, yes. And also shout out to my girlfriend. That's so lame, but I do want to shout out to my girlfriend because she's such a big supporter and, like, #1 fan, and it's important to be with someone who really, like, elevates and supports all your ventures in life. And so yeah, I feel lucky.
Cute.
That was the Cancer. I am a Cancer.
Yeah, the audio's breaking up heavy, but yeah, Cancer vibes, emotional, loving, like to be at home. Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Millie. Hey, tell them where they can follow you and check out your music.
You can follow me at Millie Rose Evans on Instagram. It's Silly Millie123 on Twitter. My SoundCloud, my Spotify, my Apple Music is all Millie Rose Evans. So be sure to check out my music, stream it. If you don't like it, just go to the next song because you might like the other ones. So don't give up.
Awesome. All right, this has been PALMCAST. My name is Dylan, but everybody calls me Palm. You can check me out on prettyawesomelitmusic.com. All right, Millie, thank you so much. I'll hit you up soon.
Have a good one.